There you are. Hi,
Okay.
Rod.
Hello, Terry.
It's evening for you, yes?
Yeah, it's early, about late afternoon. Yeah.
And it's just at crazy noon for me. There's
Okay.
I have two rescued kittens at the veterinarian who they'll probably call me to come pick them up during the call. The RoboVac
Okay.
is running. Richard
Okay.
invited someone over for lunch. It's noon here. So things are a little crazy. The
Yeah.
one thing I did was I locked the other cats out of the room so you won't see tails going back and forth.
Oh, shame. I like cats.
I do. I have five, and
Oh my God.
I hope I don't have two more with these two kittens. All I know is they're going to cost me a fortune today.
Oh yes. Oh
So you're Rod Chang, the real Rod
yes.
Chang,
Yes. Rod Chang. Yep. Yeah.
and you're part-time in UK and part-time in Taiwan, and your main practice is in China. What kind of astrology do you practice, Rod?
Western astrology. I spend a big part of my time in UK, and but a big part of my client from Taiwan, Hong Kong, and China. So most of the time I working on internet to do the online consulting and also do the teaching through the internet.
Do you have your own school?
Oh yes, Academy of Astrology,
Oh,
which
excellent.
I work with another Hong Kong astrologer called Jupiter Lai, and
I know
yeah.
Jupiter.
Oh,
She
you
was
know
part.
Jupiter, of
No,
course. Yeah, Jupiter is the
she's
tutor in the STA. Yes.
yes,
Yeah.
she's part of our little STA circle. Yes,
Yes. Yes.
excellent,
And she's co-founder with me for the Academy of Astrology.
excellent. So you
Yeah.
are going to talk to us though on a specific part of Chinese astrology. Why is
Yes.
that? Why did you choose that? Because you knew no one else could do it?
No, I think it become a trend since I start to put a little bit more time study on this subject, and I realized how ignorant I was before because I saw no one study this. And I
Yes.
realized, wow, there's still someone study it, and I'm quite happy. Okay, the reason I studied this was beginning from the study of a fixed stars. Because when I study astrology, we all deal with planet, sign, house, like all the Western astrologer. And then when I start to study the fixed stars, I met first problem is the name of the fixed star in Chinese are not like the name in English. And also, I know if even we call a fixed star's name in English, sometimes we don't know what it means. Antares, Alefrat, or something. It sounds like a little bit, Greek, Latin, and Arabian.
So you're
So
saying that the Chinese have all named these stars as well, and you have to like
uh,
coordinate them.
and it's totally different. It's totally means something else, something
Oh my
else. So I
goodness.
was like, yeah. For example, let me say, um, okay, for example, Antares, we know it's the heart of Scorpion, and its mean is like ant, Alice, the enemy of Mars. So
Yes.
Antares, but in Chinese, his Chinese name called the second star of Heart Mason. So it's a hard mention. So in the that's I will that's going to happen in my talk. Is like I will introduce how Chinese people see the sky, and in this part of sky we see it as a dragon,
This is the
and
dragon
then
part.
in the area near the Antares is the dragon's heart. So they call it a heart mention. So it's
Well,
a
a
second star
scorpion and a
of a
dragon,
heart
they're both
mention.
scary.
Yeah, dragon, scorpion. Well, it's
Both
very interesting. So
scary.
yeah, no, but it's very interesting. So for me, it's very difficult to remember their Chinese name unless I know what it means. So I start to spend more time to go back to my cultural background to study the ancient Chinese texts, the history record, and I find out, okay, they are named by the different mention and the different part of sky. They all see it as they have a different view of sky compared with the Western astrology.
So what does Antares mean in Chinese, in the Chinese vernacular of stars?
Oh, okay. You mean the Antares?
Antares, yeah.
Antares. Well, Antares they translate it like we don't really translate Antares. So we call it the hot mansion.
But what is the meaning of the fixed star? Is it a different meaning?
Yeah, yes, they have different meaning. It's very interesting. We call it a big fire,
A
but
big
it's very
fire.
big fire. Yes, it's, I think we have the record. The earliest record of this Antares was date back, could be back to 12th century BC. And you
Yeah.
see that, yeah, like in that time, the Chinese ancient astrology, they do the divination with bone. So they craft the bone and burn it and divinate it according the star position. So they call it this. They call Antares called big fire,
Fire.
and the astrologer in that time they call official of big fire. So it's a is a minister who observed the big fire, see when it's coming out of the sky and when it rise, and that is related to agriculture.
Agriculture, which is
Yeah.
which our meaning has nothing to do with. I'm not that
I think
up on my
I
fixed
think
star.
I think with this fixed star, I think in the Western astrology is more like like kind of brave and more like a Martian energy,
Yeah.
more like Martian energy.
Anti-Mars, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
The enemy
Also we call
Mars.
it, yeah, but also in China they call it its ancient name called Big Fire, but it's more related to agriculture and emperor. It
Oh,
related
the
to
emperor.
emperor. Oh yes,
Okay.
it represent the emperor. So like it's very interesting. Like we can read all this from ancient Chinese history record, official history record. They say such year when the Mars stationary near Antares, and that would be the dangerous for emperor or the important man, which such as maybe like a minister or some important noble, family or someone could have dangers or they
Isn't that
maybe die.
interesting? And that is
Yes,
a much, much older cosmology than we have access to.
it's very different. From this view, I like to say we see the same sky, but we see with a different imagination. And I like, and from there, from this, teach me one lesson is very important. You know how we usually argue with each other about, oh, your interpretation is wrong. This planet should be this, or we should read zodiac in sidereal way or tropical way.
Yeah.
I mean, let us respect each other. We all see the sky differently. Like Orion is very interesting. In European culture, Orion is a hunter.
Yes.
In Chinese, is a tiger's mouse.
Oh my.
Yes, it's a huge tiger's mouse and it's a form part. But in Japan, it's a drum.
Oh, how about
It's
that?
a drum.
I kind
It's
of, I
like a
could, I
bangle,
could
like a
kind of
bangle.
see it as a drum.
They got the
Yeah.
shape like a bangle.
Yeah.
So it's Orion, the same star, the seven of it. And we interpret in a different way. So I mean, we are all from different part of different culture, and we all interpret something according our background, according our culture and education, which is not being I'm right, you are wrong, or you are right, I'm wrong. Let's all see things in different way, and maybe we can, all contribute different things into astrology, make it more rich. That's what
Yeah.
I like to introduce, like how ancient Chinese see the sky by saying the Chinese astrology. Most people will start thinking about every year. This
Yeah.
year is like ox, and next year will be like tiger, this and that. Which
Yeah.
to be honest, I don't know when and where this system coming from.
Is
I
that
still
so? That is not
I
ancient Chinese astrology, huh?
I still studied, but I couldn't find the earliest recorded is around the 10th century, coming together with Buddhism into China.
Ah,
But before, no, I couldn't find the earlier data, but maybe somewhere in the library I can find it, but so far I don't know where they're from. But
well,
before that, the, as I say, like the date back to 12th century BC, Chinese astrology, they look the sky in a very, very different way. And
and
then
there
they
were
name.
4 divisions, you said. There were
Oh,
4, I read up a
okay.
little bit.
Oh yes, there's a there's a four, what should I say? So it's 4 part or 4 animal. So we also have a zodiac.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
this zodiac is according with the ecliptic and the celestial equator. So it's
yes.
2 parts. And then each animal represent 1 season and 1 direction.
I figured.
So yeah,
That
so
4
the
was a clue.
yeah, exactly. So the spring and the east side is a dragon. Is a
Oh, the
dragon.
spring is a dragon. Interesting.
Yes, it is. It's really dragon. And today is between our tropical. Okay, should I say? Okay, let me say sidereal. Sidereal constellation between end of Virgo
Hmm.
to Sagittarius, early Sagittarius,
Okay.
to early part of Sagittarius. And then is the winter and the north represent by a magical creature. We call it turtle,
A
but
turtle.
its image has a part of a turtle and part of a snake. So they
Oh,
blended together. This represent the north direction and the winter, and this
okay.
part is between the Sagittarius and Capricorn and Aquarius,
Okay.
and until a little bit, I think Pegasus. And then we move another part, and this part is like represent summer and the west part of sky, and this is we call the tiger.
That's the tiger. Okay.
There's a tiger, so it's like a bit Andromeda galaxy and Pisces, and then Aries, Taurus, until Orion represent the head of a tiger. That's what
Yes,
I say.
the
And
tiger's
then
mouth.
tiger's mouth. And then we have the final part is the represent the springtime and the south part of sky, and we call it the red birds. And somehow some people also thinking is a phoenix, which
A
is okay.
phoenix. Sure.
Yeah, a
Yeah.
phoenix or red birds, either way is okay. So this part of sky is like Cancer, Gemini, Leo, and the constellation Hydra, the huge snake, and the big part of Virgo. So this is a 4 part of a little bit like a great wall close the center part. And in the center part is
Mhm.
more fun. The center part represent a little bit like, the capital of the sky. So there's 3 regions, 3 area. So there is one area is like, in Beijing, in China, there's a Forbidden City.
Yes.
Yeah, so the center part with the Polaris and, the Big Dip, the area, and the constellation Draco, they represent in the Forbidden City. This is where located the emperor and every important god. And
Yeah.
then there is the administration area, all the minister, all the I think a temple minister, and all the
Diplomats.
prince
Yeah.
and diplomat. Yes, exactly. There's a diplomat, and also the princess or ladies all living in this area. Which star? Which star represent the queen? The one
No,
star, very famous in Western astrology, but you will never think is represent the queen in Chinese astrology.
it wouldn't be Regulus.
Indeed,
It is?
it is Regulus.
Oh my
It,
goodness.
yes,
Yes,
it
that's
is
because our
Regulus.
culture is so incredibly male-centric.
Yes, and it's very interesting when I read the Regulus represent the queen. I was like, huh. In Western, is the male, is a king, is a star
Yes,
for the king, and
absolutely.
in Chinese culture, is a queen. I say, so that is very interesting. Remember that a couple years ago, the Great American Eclipse is
Yes,
right
of course.
happened on the regulars,
Yes.
and we everyone was like trying to think what's going to happen to President Trump, and I was like, when we read the news, we remember that that year he was very busy with that scandal with Stormy.
All right.
And I was like, hey, well, somehow they have the kind of it's a little bit of hint about King's Lady or something in that area.
Yes.
So yes, that's a very, very, very interesting. So that's the area. And another area, the final area, part of sky, is called market. So you not
Market,
only have a forbidden city, you not only have a minister area, you also have a sky market.
this is where the common people are. Is
Yeah,
that
kind of
is that what
common
that? Yeah.
people and business commercial area. So in
Hmm.
that area, you will find the winemaker or
Hmm. The
the
fruit
wage
vendor.
things.
Yeah.
Yeah, or the horse.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like we see ancient Chinese astrologer see the sky in a very different way, but also in the kind of a life way, living way, everyday's life. You can find
Yes.
something in the
Yes.
sky.
See,
Yeah.
another thing that intrigued me that I read was that there are 28 divisions, and that's very
Yes.
familiar, like the
Oh,
lunar
yes.
mansions. And is it lunar? Because Chinese astrology, as I recall, is lunar.
Both solar and lunar.
Is
Both
it
solar
okay?
and lunar. And yes, there is a 28 mention, and it's divided. Each mention, each we say we just introduced the four animal. So each animal has seven mention.
Okay.
So it's 28. So it's 28. And what should I say is they may or may not related to the Vedic or
Hmm.
the ancient lunar mention from the Persian and the
Hmm.
Babylonian. They are kind of slightly different. They are slightly different because the division of this 28 mention are slightly different. They owe each part, each mention, they were decided by one major star.
Okay.
So each mention will have represented by one star until the next star coming. So they belong to one part. Some mention have something like a 30, more than 30 degree, and some mention only have now even only not 1 degree.
Oh,
So
wow.
it's a fixed star base.
So they
It's a
vary
fixed
a
star
great deal
base.
in size.
Very, very different. So yeah, so during my talk, I will also provide a list to make people to understand. So how this 28 mention and their position on the tropical zodiac. So it's much
Okay.
easier for astrologer, for Western astrologer, because I'm part of Western astrologer too. I know if I want to know something, I want to know what degree it is.
Yes, of course. Well, in
Yes,
your
yes.
talk, will you give us some examples of how this cosmology has pinpointed things that the Western cosmology has not? I mean, Stormy Daniels, I'm not giving her queen. I just can't do that.
No, 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 no. But I understand that. So yes, I will give some idea because it's very different view. But some for some mention and some part of the sky, they still see it as a similar things. There's some part of the similar things. There's some part totally different. Yes.
Okay, I need something juicy.
Okay.
I want an
Ooh,
example.
you need an example. Okay. Um, let me say that. How about the? Okay. There is a what should I say? For example, in this four part of sky, because we focus on this four part of sky. This four part of sky, very, very interesting, is the south part of the sky.
Okay.
And south part of sky is represented by red birds or phoenix.
Okay.
So it's represented south. it is very interesting. If you go through the other part of sky, all they mention, they all represent morally something dangerous or something with war, military action or something. But only this part of sky is joy, is enjoy, is with singing, with performing, with food, with party.
Is that so? And does this
Yes,
work in
and it's
transits as well? Do we,
yeah,
can
and
we
it's
use it in
located.
transit?
Yes, and it's located around this part of sky from Hydra, around Hydra.
Okay, the
So, but
serpents.
yes, but for Western astrology, if I tell you this is the star from Hydra, you just like, that sounds
Yeah,
nice. But
yeah.
in Chinese astrology, the star around there, around that part of sky, all bring the good meaning, good om.
So we use this both in natal astrology and also in transit or predictive astrology.
Um, to be honest, it used to be. It used to
Okay.
be used to predict the every years. Chinese astrology in the beginning, they do a little bit more like I should say like more related to the court, the country,
Yes.
the kingdom, more mundane base.
More
But
mundane. Okay, got it.
yeah, more mundane base. But it does apply to people too. And from the ancient literature, you can see those poets or those writer, they know their astrology. They know
Is
their
that true?
chart. They say, I was born in this time, and my son, the sun is in this mansion, the moon is in another mansion. Oh yes. In the ancient Chinese, there's a very important book called the Classic of Poetry, and this is like a little bit like very important ancient Chinese literature things. You can find big part of poetry related to talking about stars.
Oh, how
And
about that?
yeah, and very interesting, one poetry is mocking about it. He say, I have my son in this Big Dipper. It's not the south, it's not the North Big Dipper, it's another Big Dipper near the Sagittarius. But
Okay.
this Dipper could then scoop any wine for me. So he is complain. He know his sign, but he complain the star doesn't bring him good fortune. So we
I
can see
love it.
it's very interesting. They know the astrology
So
and
it's
they
very
use it.
entwined in the culture.
Yes, it does. It does. They do use this 28 mention to make prediction and to reading it. But I have to explain because nowadays this tradition is nearly disappeared.
Okay.
Which means when Chinese people reading the 28 mention, it's become a calendar base.
Okay. Yeah.
It's totally not related to star
To the
anymore.
stars. Yeah. To the sky.
Yeah, yeah. So it's become like a fixed date on a calendar. They keep repeat 28, 28 circle like this. So it's slightly different. So but I do see few of my colleagues, they start to, trying to make prediction according the planet position with this 28 mention. And I also trying to do it too, but I think still early day because the only reference we have is the old ancient record, but indeed it's quite rich, and we have spent time to go through it.
One thing we know for sure that we can thank the Chinese culture for is their meticulous recording. Like
Oh yes,
families record their history, their
yes.
history is recorded in every aspect in that
And
culture.
luckily for astrologer, is all the official record, all the official history contain part of astrology, no
Isn't that
matter what
fascinating?
dynasty is. Yes,
So we can look
yes,
forward to a revival of ancient Chinese astrology the way we've
yes.
seen ancient Western astrology. And
Yeah, we
you
can.
seem to be someone leading the charge. Can we look to you for a 1,200-page volume soon?
Yes, I hope so. I'm part of it. I think there are other Chinese astrologer or some other, I think some other Western astrologer, like in United States or somewhere else, they also, because all these texts can translate into English easily.
Yeah.
So they also into it. So I think that we, at least to understand ancient Chinese astrology, what they think can more or less contribute a little bit into astrology.
That's wonderful. That's
Yeah,
an exciting thing. So
yeah,
I hope that everybody will sign up for Rod's talk. We're a little up in
yeah.
the air about where it's going to be because he's up in the air where he's going to be. But right now it's scheduled for November 8th at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And the name of it is The Division of the Sky in Chinese
Yes,
Astrology. And
yes.
it relates to Feng Shui and I Ching, which was my very first oracle.
Okay.
And I
Do you
also,
remember that, like a feng shui Chinese people like to say tiger and the dragon? Now you
of
know
course,
why?
no,
Tiger and the
I mean, I
dragon in the
do
sky.
now, south, and yeah, it's the
Yes,
directions. Yeah, I think
yes.
I kind of knew that. As an artist, I did a solo exhibition many years ago called Virtual
Yeah,
Feng Shui, and
yeah.
used some of the principles of Feng Shui to set up the exhibition. And
It's related to ancient Chinese astrology.
and I didn't know that. Is the I Ching also?
Yes, indeed. Because the first hexagram of I Ching is dragon.
Of course it is. Oh my goodness, I've forgotten all this.
So I will give all this detail in my talk.
How exciting. All right,
Yes.
well, I want you to, no matter what time it is, even if you finish your talk at 3 in the morning, if you happen to, have to change locations, I want you to come to the foyer, which is kind of like our hospitality suite, and
Okay.
visit with your attendees. It's really what makes the
Definitely.
conference fun and,
Okay.
and more interactive, like a real conference, because who knows when we're going to have those again.
Sure, sure. No problem at all. Yeah.
All right. Well, it was so nice to talk to you today, Rod, and to
Yeah, very nice to
finally
see you
kind of
too.
meet you
Yes.
face to face instead of just
Yes.
online.
Okay. Yes.
Hope to see you soon.
Hope to see you soon. Thank you.
Take care.
Bye.